Game of Thrones Season 2, Episode 4, Garden of Bones. Great title. Sounds like a 1980s band. Garden of Bones.
I'll see him.
A one-hit wonder, though. You know?
Yeah, they didn't really have much going.
It's like a deep cut if you bring up Garden of Bones.
But like that one hit, that's a fucking jam.
Yeah, it's like a September. Say that you remember. So this is a great episode, Garden of Bones. The title is in reference to the outskirts of the city of Qarth. What did you think about Qarth overall in the show and the books?
It doesn't really do much for me. I wasn't a big fan of either storyline. The city looks great, though. They finally opened
it
the
does
door.
look like a utopia,
It's
yeah.
like a good place to be.
And I love how that city, the shot of the city of Qarth is followed by somebody's head being fucking hammered onto a spike. It's like, oh, this is... oh, my God! The fuck? That's Game of Thrones for you.
Yeah.
The beauty and the bad and the beast.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of these storylines, but like you mentioned in the last review, we didn't really get a lot of Daenerys. We get a little bit of her here too, but she's not as involved in season 2 as other characters.
Yeah, she is a great season 3. I enjoyed the Qarth storyline because, like you said, it's not her season. They're not really focusing on it that much, but I enjoyed the characters that they introduced and the magical elements of the show. It's Daenerys kind of learning about her future in a way when she goes into the House of the Undying. But her introduction is when one of her Blood Riders returns and says, oh, I found this great city. They gave me a new horse. And then when she arrives at the city, you could see that Daenerys still doesn't have a hold on how to negotiate or be diplomatic with other people, because she almost looks kind of adorable in this scene. It's like, my lord, I'm not a lord, my friend. I kind of feel bad for her.
Yeah.
As they keep turning away, then she just goes ballistic.
Yeah, she goes Targaryen on their asses.
Yeah.
And Zara's like, this will benefit me somehow, so let me cut my hand. What does that mean? Like, you vouch for him, like, so you cut your hand, like, oh, we gotta let her in now. What if it was like a murderer or like a crazy person?
Well, he's taking a gamble. He's taking a risk. Obviously, he thinks that she does have 3 dragons, and Zoros on Daxos is like the Wall Street investor that he's like the Bernie Madoff of Game of Thrones, where he's a Ponzi schemer. He just keeps taking these different investments, and people think he's rich because he has this safe full of all these treasures, but he really has nothing. So it's just another gamble that he's taking in his life that, yeah, I'll vouch for her because I believe this could be a payoff for me in the future, and it almost was.
Yeah.
It almost got him a kingdom if Daenerys would have agreed to take his ships and sail, but...
You got Dore.
Right.
She kind of fell for his whole
Yeah.
spiel. Yeah, but you see that, like, Daenerys, like, she's very, like you said, she tries to, like, try to negotiate, and she doesn't really understand how, I guess, cruel the real world is. I mean, she's lived, like, a tough life, but even, like, these noble, higher-up people are still treating her like garbage, too.
Yeah, but you said friends treat friends with respect. Shut up, Daenerys. But I do, when she says, Jorah says, you were a city and you knew that a Khalasar was approaching your gates, you would take precautions as well. And Daenerys looks around, she's like, a Khalasar?
Yeah.
We're like, there's like 14 of us and we're all dying. Not necessarily. We got 3 dragons that look like snakes, so we're not necessarily a big threat. But I do enjoy the Qarth storyline. And I think this is a really good back and forth between the 13 and Daenerys. It shows the innocence of Daenerys, that she still has a lot to learn. And it also, like you said, it shows that Targaryen fire that she has inside of her.
It's like, you are a Targaryen.
Yeah, I'm going to burn your city. Your city's going to be the first one I'm going to burn. He's like,
yeah, but you just said you were dying, so...
Yeah, bye.
See ya.
Great opening to the episode, too, when we see the Lannister men and, what is this, the Battle of the Oxcross? We see this battle in the book, and it's essentially Grey Wind who helps them win this battle because he finds an easier path to the Westerlands. And it's when Robb Stark and the Northern Army really begin to take over the Westerlands for a brief period of time.
Yeah, and the Lannister guards, that was an epic fight, too. Those guys they didn't seem bad.
I do like when the show focuses on the perspective of the common folk, because we later learn that this army was basically just a bunch of common folk that they just kind of got together at the last minute.
It's kind of like the Westerosi first take. You know, they're arguing who's the best. Who are you going with? Would they have the Mountain, Jaime, or Loras?
I'm taking Jaime. After what I've seen, the Mountain and Oberyn, I think Jaime probably a better fighter than Oberyn. But it's cool to see that perspective from the lower folk, that they look up to these people as celebrities almost. You know, Jaime, the Mountain, Loras. And I love that line where he's like, how deadly can Loras be? He's been stabbing Renly Baratheon forever, and Renly's not dead.
And it's kind of that contrast, too, when we see last episode, like, just the scumbag Lannister men, just evil. And these guys are a little more lighthearted, making fart jokes and, just hanging.
Well, it's like the scene in season 7 with Ed Sheeran when Arya runs into the Lannister men, and they're not fighting because they're so loyal to House Lannister. They're fighting because people put fucking spears in their hands and said, you have to fight. You have no choice.
And we got a little more of that differing philosophy of war when we meet Talisa. And before that, we meet Roose Bolton. Just the contrast there. It's kind of like Roose is like the one extreme, then it goes to Robb, and then Talisa is like the pacifist. And because Roose is...
Yeah, good point.
He's just going all like straight to like, let's flay him.
Yeah, let's torture the fuck out of them. Let's see what they know.
And
his character is a lot different in the show as well. He's a bit more sympathetic in the show. In the book, he's ruthless.
Yeah.
He straight up has no personality. He's very focused. In the show, the way he embraces Ramsay, the way that actor portrays Roose Bolton, I forget his name. I'm terrible with names. I'd be terrible at trivia. And you don't like the Talisa change, right?
It's not like I don't like the character. It changes Robb's motivation for me because in the book it's more honor driven because he does have a moment of weakness where him and Jane Westerland get together and he marries her because that's the honorable thing to do. Talisa is just straight love following his heart, which is less honorable.
Yeah, I like that. I like that they made Robb a more flawed character because they focus more on Robb in the show. They have more of his perspective and his thinking, his ways of thinking, and it makes sense that Robb would fall in love with somebody like Talisa because she's a strong, independent woman. She basically gave up her life of luxury and Essos to come here and help people. I love that back and forth they have where Robb tells her, the lad was lucky you were here, and she's like, he was unlucky that you were. And once again, it's that perspective of the common folk, and Talisa says, this guy didn't kill your father. He never held a spear before the Lannisters put one in his hands.
And that's pretty fucking brutal. Getting your leg sawed off?
Yeah.
I'd rather die, honestly. I couldn't do that. I'm not big.
No, I'd take the foot. Take the foot. I'm living.
Oh.
But it's cool that Robb is helping out somebody who's not on his side.
Yeah.
Even though he fights for the Lannisters.
Trying to impress the girl, though. It's like, look how caring I am.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, too. But he also says, I have no desire to sit on the Iron Throne. If Robb was to win, then why not take over the Seven Kingdoms, But he says, I have no desire to rule over all seven. I just want to kill Joffrey and then go home.
Well, yeah, and Joffrey is definitely someone who deserves to fucking die.
It's like a family squabble, though, and all these people are dying because, Joffrey killed your father. Like, in the bigger picture, that's not a good enough reason to risk thousands and thousands of lives. Talisa's perspective, How many lives is one man worth? But that Joffrey scene, I always fucking die laughing. You're here to answer for your brother's latest treasons. The way he says it, he's like, he doesn't care that Robb did this. He just likes being a dick.
Yeah, it's there's no logic there.
No, you had to answer for your brother's latest treasons.
But again, this is
He's
more
like, what the fuck?
This is more just an insight of what Sansa's going through.
Yeah.
And like I said last episode, that's why I hate what happens to her in season 5. But just it's sad. And I love the scene too because we see Tyrion come in and rescue Sansa from further abuse. And you have the Hound covering her with his cloak.
Yeah, he's the first one to do it.
Yeah.
And he even looks away when Meryn Trant is beating her. Even he can't stomach this.
Yeah.
This very disturbing scene. It always makes me very sad. And I love that Tyrion came in and helped her because there's a point of view chapter in the book when Sansa's thinking about all the different Lannisters and she's describing them to herself, and she thinks of Tyrion, and she says, and what could I say of Tyrion Lannister? That he's nice? That he was kind to me?
Yeah.
So it's Tyrion, once again, being a realist. It doesn't matter that Sansa is the sister of their enemy. You don't beat a helpless girl in public. And he even tells her, do you want out of this marriage? And Sansa says, I'm loyal to my beloved Joffrey. And it's like, you just might survive us yet.
I was impressed by Sansa's will to survive and put on this facade, not slip up, because she knows if she slips up, it could mean her life. Also, Tyrion's threat to Meryn Trant is so funny.
Oh, yeah, that's so good.
No one threatens his grace in the presence of the King's Guard.
I'm not threatening the king, sir. I am educating my nephew. Bronn, the next time Sir Meryn speaks, kill him. That was a threat. See the difference?
You give Tyrion a little bit of power and a cutthroat on his back. He's unstoppable.
Yeah. And Meryn Trant, I fucking hate that guy. But credit to Jack Gleeson, too, because he seems like such a nice kid when you see him in interviews. He plays his character so well. She's such an evil little cunt. And that's what Bronn says when Bronn says, we need to get him some women. There's no cure for being a cunt, but maybe we can get some of the poison out. And if this scene was disturbing, this next scene with Joffrey shows this man is not even interested in sex. It's just sadistic, torturing. He's all about power. He doesn't care about women or men. He just wants to torture you, just to have that power over you. This scene, to me, it's almost unwatchable because I feel so bad for the girl that's being whipped and then beaten and other stuff.
Even for Roz, that's probably awful, having to do all that
After
stuff.
what she just saw with the knights killing the little babies.
Yeah. She's probably should have stayed in Winterfell, huh?
Yeah, she definitely. Well, she was like, "Oh, I need to escape the war." Just fucking walked into the lion's den, girl. Literally. So that does not work with Joffrey.
No, it doesn't. And it's a mix of just trying, I guess, just him being a sadistic prick and him getting shown up by Tyrion in the scene before. So he's kind of sending him a message back.
And in the Stormlands, we see Littlefinger, who's been sent as an envoy from Tyrion Lannister, going there to try and convince Catelyn to free Jaime. But first, he talks to Renly. And I like this, too, because Littlefinger's making a contingency plan for himself. He understands that Renly, if he marches on King's Landing, is probably going to win. And even though Renly doesn't like him, he's saying, hey, if you march, there could be the difference between closed gates and open gates. I just want to make sure that I maintain my position. And Renly's like, okay, Littlefinger, I see you, boy. I see you maneuvering.
Trying to protect his interests. He has so many different things going on. He just wants to, I don't care who wins as long as I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
And maybe throw in Harrenhal. Littlefinger's very interested in Marjorie and Renly's relationship. It's fascinating him, and he talks to both of them about it. And
well, he's the one that sets the match between Marjorie and Joffrey.
Yeah, so he's trying to inquire, what does Marjorie want out of this? What's her end game? And once he kind of can tell it's that she wants the power, it makes it easier for him to maneuver and make that match with Joffrey, knowing that she would be a willing participant because she just wants to be queen. We do know, obviously Littlefinger does know about Renly and Loras. He remarks that in season 1 during the tourney. So it could be also him just being like, hey, I know you might want me on your side before the whole realm knows.
Well, I think everybody knows at that point. I don't think Renly really cares.
Yeah, but
I think it's just Littlefinger. His philosophy is you imagine every scenario playing out and you have a plan for each one. So if Renly doesn't win, it's, hey, Marjorie, you want to be matched up with Joffrey? It's just Littlefinger planting these little seeds. And that's why I love this show. There's so many different agendas and dynamics. And that's why it's so complex, but it's so intriguing. He also has the conversation with Catelyn. It's like, I feel like fate has given us this opportunity to be together. And this could also almost be seen as a change from the book, because it's like in this moment, he cares for Catelyn again. It's like, maybe I can... Nope, never mind. Okay, back to being Littlefinger.
Not really. I think he's just trying to manipulate her, and he does by using her children. It's a good play by Tyrion, too, because he's right. Catelyn will pretty much do anything to get his daughters back.
Yeah, it's a great play by Tyrion.
But Littlefinger, too, uses that to manipulate Cat. She goes from putting a knife to his throat to using the girls as a way to have her calm down a little, and then he brings in Ned's bones as a sign of respect. And that's another good move by Tyrion, too. So setting his, like you said before, planting a seed, trying to manipulate everyone he can and just better himself.
There's a previous conversation between Robb and Catelyn where Robb says he can't trade the Kingslayer for 2 girls. How will that make him look to his army? And Catelyn brings that up to Littlefinger as well. And Littlefinger says, yes, Robb's a king, you're a mother. He can never know the love that a mother has for her children. And you can see the look on Catelyn's face. Michelle Fairley, she is just so good. And she's such a great physical actor where you can see the grief on her face where anger all of a sudden turns soft. And she's thinking of Arya, Arya wild as ever, Sansa as beautiful as ever, Littlefinger lying about them having Arya. You could just see in Catelyn's face that there's nothing more that she wants than to just be with her family again, for all of them to just be reunited in Winterfell. It's a great play by Tyrion. It's a really brilliant move.
And speaking of Arya, she's not in King's Landing. She's at Harrenhal.
Which, Harrenhal, do you think this was a conscious decision to kind of make Harrenhal like a concentration camp? Because that's what it feels like. It looks like something you would see from like a World War II documentary on the Holocaust. It's horrifying. This is when Game of Thrones got really scary for me. I could imagine myself in that situation just being terrified. These people are starving. The mother, who her whole family had been killed by the tickler, she's just so numb to it. She's not crying. She's not emotional. She's just numb. She's dead inside. The whole thing, the way they portray it, it's, there's so many great elements to Game of Thrones. There's so many, a mix mash of genres. This is the horror of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and we got, they're, questioning prisoners about the Brotherhood and things like that, which pays off next season.
But he's like asking questions to people that wouldn't even know.
I know,
the
it's
tickler.
stupid. And
it's power. It's the same thing with Joffrey.
But this is the first time that we hear Arya list the actual names. She ends up actually adding Polliver once she finds out his name and the mountain.
Yeah, I like that. It's also the first time we see Harrenhal. The history where somebody, who mentions it? It's hot fire Gendry. What type of fire could melt stone? We get that great scene later in this season when Tywin is talking about how King Aegon the Conqueror burned Harrenhal and killed King Harren and his sons. And there's a great shot, too, from the World of Ice and Fire book of Balerion the Black Dread just completely obliterating this castle. And it's almost like an ancient relic. It can inspire mythology. Maybe the dragons didn't exist, but something crazy happened here that we just don't understand yet. So it's like one of those great historical artifacts within the world of Westeros.
What movie is that rat torture thing from, too?
That's like been in everything. I remember seeing that in it. Yeah.
It's like a rock movie, I think. I don't know.
I feel like was it in Green Mile? No, there's just a pet rat in
that.
No. I'm just thinking of the pet rat. But I remember I've seen that in so many different movies, and that's got to be one of the worst ways to go.
Yeah, just having a rat eat your insides.
Ugh.
Pretty effective, though. I would start talking.
And Tywin rolls up later in the episode, and he's just disgusted by the way that they're running Harrenhal. What are you doing, you fucking morons? Why are you killing these prisoners? They could have skills. They could be helping us. He's just like, all these fucking morons. What are you doing?
He asks Gendry, he's like, what do you got a smith, Obviously, when he notices Arya as a girl, only him and Gendry can have that ability, so it's smart. He kind of respects her, too. He's like, oh, it's smart girl dressing as a boy because it makes the road safer. And it's another fantastic change, making Arya his cupbearer instead of that being with Roose Bolton.
Yeah, very, very good change. Those are some of my favorite scenes in the whole show. Back in the Stormlands, we see the meeting between Renly and Stannis, and Catelyn kind of acts as the intermediary in this meeting, where she says, if you two were brothers, I would just slap your heads together, put you in a room until you figured it out. And I love how Renly has all these great comebacks, and Stannis is just like, watch yourself, Renly. That's twice I warned you.
Yeah, Renly's roasting Stannis with such a heat that it would even make, R'hllor sweat.
He's got a bunch of great lines when he says, oh, now I know why you found religion later in life.
Yeah. Just that relationship, he even remarks at the end, it's like, oh, can you believe I loved him once? Just how that relationship is just not there anymore.
Yeah, at one point he did look up to his brother. And Renly's peach.
Oh, who cares?
Right? They showed earlier in the episode
when he's peach and he's talking to Littlefinger.
Yeah.
It makes him really cocky. Having the Tyrell backing kind of lets Renly, like you said before, do things that he probably shouldn't be, or that confidence that he can take on Stannis and he doesn't need help. And last episode, we loved the episode because we actually got to see Tyrion in his comfort zone playing the game and playing it well. And this is kind of a continuation when he talks with Lancel and basically gets Lancel on his side to spy on Cersei for him because he knows that they've been banging.
Yeah, it's great deduction powers. It's not hard to come to that conclusion, but he does, and he flips this for him. He's got the perfect spy for Cersei, somebody who's going to be by Cersei's side all the time. And Cersei's probably thinking, I can say whatever I want in front of Lancel. He's not going to tell anybody. I've got him in my corner. So the way that he just blackmails him by thinking Lancel should know that Tyrion and Joffrey have a terrible relationship, but he doesn't know that. It's a great move by Tyrion. And it's something, once again, it's something that Ned Stark wouldn't do. No. Ned Stark wouldn't blackmail somebody. He would just report it right away. He's not thinking like that. Tyrion's thinking, oh, this is my way in. I'm going to have eyes and ears on the queen at all times. Great move by Tyrion. He's cooking in this season. That man is Chef Curry with the pot. The episode ends with Davos and Stannis having the conversation about, does the good wipe out the bad or the bad wipe out the good? That they've both made mistakes, and Stannis is about to make a decision that could be considered not honorable. Using Melisandre's blood magic to try and assassinate his brother. And this scene where Davos is smuggling Melisandre into the gateway into Storm's End, Melisandre looks especially evil in this scene.
Yeah.
And I think Carice Van Houten has said that she makes it a point not to blink in certain scenes, that she's always keeping her eyes very focused on what she's looking at. And she gives us a very evil vibe in this scene.
Yeah, and this is the episode that was like, what the fuck? Like the Shadow Baby? That's it's like straight out of a horror movie. Yeah, because you can sell me on the dragons and White Walkers, but this is some crazy shit.
Yeah, this is something that you don't see every day in fantasy.
No.
In fiction. And Melisandre tries to make the case to Davos that she is on the side of the light and the living, and then something like this comes out of her body. And you see Davos. He's terrified.
Oh, hell yeah, I would be too.
He is thinking, what the hell have I gotten myself into?
Back to Davos too. I like that scene before when him and Stannis are just talking about, like, you know, he's talking about, oh, do you have to carry the knuckle bones around?
Right. Yeah.
And that relationship fascinates me. How, like, just Stannis, like, he would be the guy to cut your fingertips off after you saved him and his family's life.
Yeah, he's like, oh, thank you for doing this great deed for me, but you broke the law, so sorry. And it's clear that when they speak together, even though Davos uses the improper grammar, 4 less fingernails to clean, fewer, that Davos is the smarter of the two, and it's not even close.
Such a weird relationship.
It is, but, you know, it's the man that brought him up. I assume that if you were poor and somebody had brought you up and promoted you to lord and eventually hand to the king, you'd have a lot of veneration for that person. It's a weird relationship, but they're just glued to the hip because of destiny.
Yeah.
Like, destiny has just brought them together. It's just what it is. Because Davos to Stannis is a very valuable ally. You want somebody like Davos on your side. And even when he imprisons him and is going to execute him, Melisandre even tells Stannis, we can't afford to get rid of him because he's got a great mind. He's a great strategist. But that end scene to me, yeah, it's terrifying. And I'm thinking, what the?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, what's it? Stannis won.
She's just
going to be popping out shadow babies.
Yeah, sure. Well, she does it a couple times in the books, right?
I think she gets the Castellan at Storm's End.
Right.
And
Renly.
Yeah.
It's getting kind of repetitive at this point where I say, yeah, well, this is a good episode. I would give it a... But it is. It's a good episode. I mean, the first couple of seasons, you're not going to find bad episodes. You're just not for, like, the first 4 seasons. So I would give this episode, probably give it like an 8.7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's certainly not as good as last episode, but I think it's a solid middle season episode. I'd probably give it around 7.8.
Disrespect.
Disrespect?
7.8 for a season 2 episode. That's disrespect. I can't wait till we get to season 4. I'm going to drop a 6.
No, you're not.
I am.
You can't do that.
I'll do it.
So I know your credibility would be shot.
My credit is perfect. FreeCreditScore.com.
Man, my credit's shot.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and before we go, I want to quickly thank our Patreon supporters. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to grow and evolve as a channel, so thank you for your generous pledges. If you are interested in supporting our channel through Patreon, visit www.patreon.com/nerdsoup, and you can see the different rewards we offer to our Patreon supporters. T-shirts, mugs, stickers, access to our behind-the-scenes video, and more. Thanks again for watching this video, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Or dislike, don't share, and unsubscribe. It's a binary world, folks.